Hi everyone, welcome to video 8 in my IELTS grammar series. This video will be about prepositional phrases. Let's get straight into it. So what exactly is a prepositional phrase? Well, it's basically a structure that starts with a preposition and it goes through to a noun. That's pretty much all it is. So here are a few examples. I'll go to church tomorrow. In this case, to is the preposition, church is the noun. Notice it's not to base verb, church is a noun, so it's not a to plus base verb structure. This is a prepositional phrase structure. Next one, I'll see you at home. At home being the prepositional phrase. I sleep in on Sundays. These little phrases are really common. Now, if you haven't watched the previous video, it was about noun phrases. So what we saw in that one was that nouns are not necessarily alone. Sometimes they have adjectives or determiners before them. The same thing with a prepositional phrase. It's preposition through to a noun, but there might be some other stuff in the middle. For example, you might have things like this. Preposition, determiner into adverb, into adjective, into noun. But that will be one prepositional phrase, even if you have all of those things. For example, I saw you in that really boring meeting. In preposition, that determiner, really adverb, boring adjective describing meeting the noun. So in through to the noun meeting, but noun phrases include other words, of course. So next one, I went to the beach. Preposition to, then just a determiner and a noun. Really common. Next one. You come from an interesting part of the world. Notice there are two prepositional phrases there. Next one. I sleep in on Sundays. There's a nice short one again. Now, if you're starting a sentence with a prepositional phrase, you're actually allowed to and sometimes supposed to use a comma after it. Now, the basic rule is this. When you start a sentence with a prepositional phrase, if there are 3 words or less, it's optional to use a comma. If there are 4 words or above, you absolutely have to use a comma. To me, the easy way is just always use a comma. If you start your sentence with a prepositional phrase, then you won't have a problem. Here are some examples of how that might work. So, in 1901, Australia became independent. That's correct. In 1901, Australia became independent. That is also correct. It's just 2 words, it's optional. Next one, in the 1960s, the Beatles were extremely popular. In the 1960s, the Beatles were extremely popular, no comma, both correct. Next one though, on the other hand, that's 4 words. You must do a comma, you must use a comma here. People should also exercise regularly. Here's a golden rule I have for you. This will be very important moving into the next video. But when you see a noun in a prepositional phrase, in other words, there's a preposition before a noun, that noun is not the subject of your sentence. So let me show you how this is very important to understand. Here's an example sentence for you. In Colombia are many beautiful beaches. Now, is that wrong? Well, it probably sounds wrong because it is wrong, and the reason is there is no subject. So in Colombia, in is a preposition. That means Colombia cannot be the subject of your sentence. Now we have no subject. That's where we have our issue. 3 ways to fix it. Fix this problem are as follows. You could say something like Colombia has many beautiful beaches. There are many beautiful beaches in Colombia, or in Colombia, there are many beautiful beaches. Let's finish with an activity. This should help you check if you understand it or not. So I recommend pausing the video and trying to find all the prepositional phrases, preposition through to noun. Then on the next slide, I'll show you what the prepositional phrases were. Okay, next slide. As you can see, the prepositional phrases were on the poor, in other words, from higher taxes on wealthy companies and individuals, on education, healthcare and welfare, and for poor people. Notice the one in other words, comma. There's a comma after it because it's at the beginning of the sentence. If it's not at the beginning of the sentence, you don't need to worry about a comma. That's pretty much it. This is actually important for the next video that we're going to do. So I hope you enjoyed this. Share it if you did, and I'll see you in the next video.